Hey everyone, welcome to a new episode of Another Diamond in the Jukebox. Today, my guest is the lead of the LA based trip hop metal act Dracula, Warren, California. Hi, Warren.
Hi, thanks for having me, Maria.
No problem. Thank you for being on my show.
Thank you.
Before we start the interview, I would just like to remind to everyone to please like, comment, subscribe to my page, and support me on Patreon. The link is in the description for this video. And let's go ahead and start with the questions. Okay. So first of all, how old are you?
I just turned 36 in on the 11th of June. So yeah, I'm 36, born in 1989, like Taylor Swift.
Oh, wow. Yeah, my birthday is on June 10th. I just turned 33.
So Gemini gang, right?
Yeah, dude,
Yeah.
Gemini gang. Wow, what a coincidence. Yeah, could have been born on the same day too.
I think that.
Yeah. So yeah, weird coincidence.
Yay.
So what made you fall in love with rock music?
Wow. So when I was a kid and when my parents kind of left me alone at home, I would just put on the Eagles and for like the first rock song I really heard was Hotel California. And I felt like that kind of drew me in into like the whole mystique of like California and LA and just generally living that life. It kind of painted a really different picture for me when I was a child. Because I came from I come from a country called Singapore. It's really restrictive on like freedom of speech and your thought. There's a lot of thought control and like propaganda and education and stuff like that. And so I could never really like see the world outside of Singapore. But through that song, I kind of had a glimpse of what life was like outside. And I guess that was like really the start of how I got into like rock music. And along the years, I slowly kind of like listened to slightly harder stuff like Limp Bizkit. And that was kind of like one of the first few records I bought when I saved money as a kid. And I got into Limp Bizkit, Kid Rock, Marilyn Manson. And later on, I got into Nine Inch Nails and Guns N' Roses. So that winning the school talent time at age 15 after I picked up the guitar, that was like a significant milestone for me because that was one of the points where I was like, maybe I could actually do that. I could do this for like a career, like as an artist.
Hmm, that's amazing. That's actually how Shuri Curry from the Runaways got her start. She also competed in her school's talent show when she was 15 and a sophomore in high school. She
Right.
lip synced and she danced to Song by David Bowie. And then later, shortly after that, she got discovered at a club by a by a music manager. So yeah, and from there he cast her as a lead singer in the Runaways, and that's how she got her start. And that was Joan Jett's first band too.
Amazing.
Yeah,
Wow.
yeah,
And that's where the name comes from, right? Another dime in the jukebox. That's a Joan Jett song.
yep. That's
Yeah.
exactly where I got it from.
I
Yeah,
love rock and roll. That's
absolutely. Uh,
yeah.
yeah, I mean that was when I was coming up with a name for my blog. I was definitely looking to name it something that definitely pertains to rock music. And
Right.
I was looking at all sorts of like blog and podcast names on Google,
Hmm.
and I came across this website called Livewire, and it immediately made me think of the Motley Crue song. Although I'm not really sure if that platform is actually named after the Motley
Right.
Crue song, but that's what gave me the idea. And I started like thinking about all the different song titles, and then it just came to me, Another Diamond in the Jukebox. Sometimes I think it's a little bit too long of a name. I always
Right.
like keep thinking maybe I should come up with something that's shorter and a little easier to type out, write down.
I think it works. Yeah.
Yeah, but it definitely works. I mean, it's pretty perfect. I haven't really come up with anything since. Like I said, sometimes I think it's a little bit too lengthy, but it works. Definitely does.
Right.
Yeah, and so what kind of a guitar do you play?
So right now at the moment I'm using a Jackson V. This is the one you can get on Amazon for like 350. I believe that's where I got it from. I got it from my manager as a birthday gift, and it's completely stock and unmodded. I got this like a couple of years back. I kind of put it away, and my main guitar is actually the Hello Kitty Squire strap. So
I saw you
I
play that at the show. I thought it was so cute and like ironic that you guys are like this really hard heavy metal band, and
right.
there you are with like this cute little Hello Kitty guitar. It was pretty cool.
I guess that would be the point of it. I guess some people would say it's ironic. Some people think it's cliche, whatever. But for me, it's like I dig pink. I feel like I'm confident enough to wear pink, and I like pink. I like Hello Kitty, and I find it just absolutely hilarious that I could make Kitty do and say all these bad things.
I mean, yeah, it was definitely hilarious in an ironic kind of way.
Yeah,
I know nothing about guitars. I did take voice lessons for almost 10 years. I had to stop recently because I can't afford to pay for them anymore. But
got you.
like basically all throughout like basically ever since I started really feeling passionate about rock and roll, I've mostly stuck to reading biographies of famous rock and roll artists. That's like my favorite thing to do. Also,
Right,
I love to sing. I write poetry, but when I tried to learn guitar, I never really stuck with it. It
got
was
you.
I was never really all that into it. I tried learning when I was 16, and I
Mhm.
never really stuck.
Got you.
Vocals, I loved doing it pretty much right away. It just felt easier to me. Well, not necessarily easier, but it just felt more natural to
Natural, got you. Yeah,
think like I was
yeah,
into it than
yeah.
actually playing guitar. So
Right.
yeah, that's why I know absolutely nothing about guitars, but hopefully I can learn. But do you play like I know you don't play bass. I know that
No.
much. So do you play like rhythm or lead guitar?
I would think my playing style would mainly be a lot of rhythm, with the occasional sparse leads. I mean, I play the solos in the band because we don't have a separate guitarist, but that's usually handled by the backing track. So when it gets to the point where there is a guitar solo, I kind of let the backing tracks handle the rhythm, and then I do the guitar solos
Mhm.
because originally I started out as a lead guitarist. Never in my wildest dreams ever would I thought that I would be doing vocals or fronting a band. I was always content just being, I don't know, second fiddle, just in the background, and just playing my guitar, and just being happy with that. It's just that I went through so much trouble with different vocalists through the years that I kind of said, you know how the old saying goes, if you want something right, you got to get it done yourself. So that's pretty much what happened to me in that sense. I kind of found myself in this challenging but unique position where I was to front the band and do the vocals and to play the lead guitars. So that all kind of came all at once, and I didn't really have the time to like prepare for it. But because I used to do like a little bit of drumming on the side as well, that kind of set me up to say, okay, so now you're gonna have to coordinate this, you're gonna have to coordinate this, and you're gonna have to make sure your hands go in time with that. And I guess that was just like a being able to play the drums a little was like a huge help for me.
I see. So
Yeah.
you play lead guitar, you sing, and you play the drums.
Yes, lead rhythm, and I sing. So that's pretty much that's what I do in the band. In the studio, it's all me because Dracula it's pretty much you can think of it as a one man project with live sessions. So kind of in a sense like one of my favorite bands. Nine Inch Nails. That's kind of where I got the inspiration from. And the studio production, it's all me. I do I lay the foundations, like the drums, the bass, and then I put in some guitars and synthesizers, and I also try to do everything myself. Like I do the mix and the mastering. It's not ideal to be doing everything on your own, but it just saves that much money. And as a struggling musician, you kind of need every penny you can get.
I see. So what about the bandmates that I saw on the stage at the Whisky with you? Because you
So
guys all have like the same look, and you definitely look like you are one band, and that is started out that way. Because
right.
yeah, like I said, you guys have that same look to every single one of you. So are those just session musicians?
So Andre Ruin, he's on bass. He is my longtime childhood friend, and he kind of takes a back seat when it comes to the actual writing and production of things. He chooses to leave it to me to do it, and I guess I'm also happy and comfortable doing that. So he's a lot more of my he, apart from playing the bass, he's also my PR and content manager. So he 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 goes more on the technical side of things. So I would say so he helps me out with a lot of the technical stuff. I do a lot of the visionary stuff, and we make a great team like that. So you could think of him as like you have sessionists and you have like actual bandmates. Andre is probably somewhere right in the middle of that. Right in the middle of that.
I see. Okay,
Yeah,
gotcha. Yes. So basically, so he's basically like a session musician, but he's
correct.
also a regular member of the band.
Correct, correct,
I see.
correct.
Okay.
Kind of how we would think of Robin Fink's role in Nine Inch Nails.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, so like he would be a staple member of the band in a live setting, but and occasionally contribute to stuff in the studio. But for the most part, it's 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 me with the vision to push Dracula, and Dracula is it's a it's a one man project.
I see.
Yes,
Yeah, so basically, like I said before, it's like a one-man project with
correct.
um, members of the band who are like session musicians, but also at the same time regular members of the band.
Correct. Correct.
Okay.
So we also have we have discussions where we say, okay, even though we are like even though y'all are like sessioning for me, we still want to have like a cohesive look, right? So we want to have we don't want to be like, okay, so that's chief up there, and like and the rest of his goons, like that's not the vibe we're going to go for. We want to go for like this is a united outfit, and there is a really specific look and message that we want to bring across to the public.
Yeah. Well, you guys definitely have the specific look down. Yes, like I said
Thank you,
before.
thank you,
Yeah, I mean, it's a really cool look, and you
thank
guys
you.
all look like you've like coordinated it together, kind of like Kiss. Yeah,
Yes,
yeah,
yes,
and it's definitely that's what makes you recognizable. I had an interview with an EDM artist called Dramageddon a couple of weeks ago, and he was saying to me how in the music industry, it's not just important to be a really good musician and to constantly write really good music, but it's also important to have a very distinctive look that is
yeah,
easily recognizable to your fans and to also the people who work in the music industry.
correct.
So you guys have that down.
Thank you.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. When did you start learning your craft? Like, how old were you?
I was 15, and originally I was a skateboarder, and I kind of thought like I would be doing it. I would be going pro doing it, but just somewhere right in the middle of that, I because as skaters you watch like a lot of skate videos, right? And you get like a lot of these like soundtracks, like music, songs, like in the skate videos, and slowly my mind would just be drifting towards like the music that was in those videos, and I was like, could I play something like that? Could I could I provide the soundtrack for these videos instead of being the skater? And long story short, I basically quit skateboarding like overnight, and I decided that I was going to play the guitar like at any cost. I was like, um, I just lost all interest in whatever I was doing at that point of time, and I was like, you know what? Let's sit down. Let's borrow a guitar. Let's try to be a guitarist because that's what I saw. That's what that was the vision I had in my head, like me on the stage and holding a guitar. And I was like, yeah, that feels all right. Maybe I have found the thing that I was supposed to be doing.
Well, I mean, it's definitely passion. That's
Thank you.
what got me excited about singing in the first place, too. And I actually started feeling that way when I was also 15 years old. Back then, I actually wasn't listening to rock and roll that much. I was
Mm,
listening to a lot of Russian rock artists because I was
really?
I came to the States when I was 10.
Got you.
But also at the same time, I was listening to a lot of modern pop music, like Billboard 100 stuff. I was listening to stuff like Fergie, Beyonce, Chris Brown was a favorite of mine.
Oh, that's the good stuff. That's the good stuff.
I was listening to hip hop when I was in 10th grade, and I was having so much fun listening to the music that at one point I was like, I want to learn how to sing. So I did take voice lessons when I was in high school. Then, when I was 16, my parents moved, unfortunately, to a different state. So I had
Hmm.
with lessons with the music teacher I had at the time. Unfortunately, when we moved to a new town in New Jersey, I couldn't find a voice teacher there, but I did sing in a church choir because I wanted vocal practice, not because I'm religious. I'm not Christian, or I don't really practice any other religion.
I hear you.
Yeah, and then when I was 18, I went to design school, so I had to stop taking my voice lessons during my college years. And then after I graduated college in 2016,
Got you.
I started going out a lot. I went to see some rock shows in West Hollywood and also in downtown LA a couple of times. And that just completely brought back my passion for rock and roll.
I
Like
love that.
like before when I was like in high school and college, I was kind of interested in it. I listened to some rock artists. I listened to a little bit of Joan Jett when I was in college. Um, didn't really fully get into her until I was about 24, though. And
Mm.
like I said, after I graduated design school, I was just like, I had more free time, and my passion for rock and roll was basically completely rekindled. And uh, so I picked up my voice lessons when I was 25, and I'm 33 now. So I've been doing it for almost a decade now. But like I said, recently I had to stop with the voice
Hell
lessons.
yeah.
It's expensive, but my podcast is getting better and better recently. I've been fortunate to introduce so many great artists, you included, and
Oh, thank you.
no problem. I feel really, really fortunate to be doing that.
I feel so fortunate to be given the opportunity to be heard. Thank you.
Well, yeah, like I said, thank you for being on my show. So when, and how did Dracula come together?
Dracula was it was a combination of my frustrations with dealing with multiple bandmates. And this is and we're talking like bandmates from like multiple groups across the years where even back in from Singapore where I was from, we could just never find that. Some bands are lucky to be able to find that synergy within the bandmates. For me, it was never quite such an experience. It was always a lot of infighting, squabbling, petty ego stuff. Um, girls who come into the picture, just making everything really complicated and like bad vibes. So that was my like pretty much my entire experience with bands and music, up to a point where I actually questioned, was there was is this something that I wanted to do, to like to deal with people like that day in and out, right? And and then it came to me, whatever was just me, what if I just did everything? What if I that way I didn't have to be dealing with common issues that I was always dealing with, people being flaky, people being nasty or unmotivated, without that drive. And I don't want to be like one of those guys that go like, like, hey, get stuff done for me or else, right? But on the other hand, I wasn't happy compromising my visions and my beliefs as well. So when it really came down to it, it was like, why don't you just get everything done on your own? Things are gonna be on your own dime, but that way you're gonna be satisfied with the results of it. Of course, along the way I've kind of realized and learned that no man's really an island. I have a team behind me, and I'm thankful for everything that they do for me to make sure that this project works and stands. End of the day, I learned that I still have to work with people. It's just that as much as the middleman I can cut out, that seems to be way more efficient for me and my craft.
I see. Yeah, you're definitely right when you said that no man is an island, and you definitely need a good team of people behind you to help you push the project forward and to help you
Yeah,
succeed.
it's all true. Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm definitely finding that out because I have been doing these recorded interviews for about 3 years now, and I'm only now just starting to get more subscribers on my YouTube page, and recently
Yeah.
I'm only now just starting to get more interviews. Like in the beginning, I was
Yeah.
fortunate enough to have a number of pretty like big artists
Right.
who agreed to be on my show.
Oh.
But at the same time, like at first, it really wasn't enough. And
Mm.
I'm only just now like realizing, like, thankfully I'm getting more subscribers. Hopefully I will get more views. My ultimate goal, right, is to get myself into a professional studio so that I can have better equipment.
Mm.
Because that way I feel that's what my show is lacking right now. Because I love my content. I'm getting excellent responses from every single one of my subjects, and
Right.
I love that. But I would also love it if I could be like in a professional studio with professional equipment. Obviously, a hair and makeup artist, but
Mm.
that costs a lot of money, which I don't have right now. So,
Right.
knock on wood, that will happen hopefully sometime soon. But yeah, you're definitely right that you do need a good team of people. And
Yeah.
yeah, like when you said that you have a good team of people behind you right now, like can you maybe like list some of those?
Say that again.
Can you list some of the members of the team you have behind
Okay.
you?
Right. So obviously we have Andre, which we talked about. He handles my creative PR. He does like content together with me and play bass live. He usually looks at stuff that like from a different perspective than I do, and he's like, maybe that's not such a good idea, dude. And I'm like, are you kidding me? Like, no, this is like a great fucking idea. He's like, no, dude, like that's a fucking bad idea. And I'm like, okay, fine. Like, let's it's back to the drawing board. So that's kind of his role for me in the band. Like he kind of like he's kind of like a check and balance for me because I sometimes get ideas in my head that are too far out, and I'm like, that's a great idea, and he's like, no, so he shuts me down. That's a good thing. We have Alejandra, which was part of the lineup at the Whisky that you saw, and she's just a real hardworking person. Listens to input, and plays the drums with a flair that I haven't really seen before. And I feel like she's a great addition to our team. It gives everyone a little something to look at, because I mean, look at me, you don't trust me, right? Like, and you know what Andre already looks like. So we're the freaks, we're the freaks, we're the ones that. But then hey, we have Alejandra, and Alejandra is like she's like a cute little lady, and you wouldn't think twice or a bad thought about her, and that's how we get you. That's how we get you. I have Naomi. She's my manager. So she lines up interviews for me. She dresses me up. She says, okay, so that's the look that's gonna fit with the current era of things, and that's not gonna work for you. And And it's a lot of tough love from her as well, because sometimes she goes like, that's a no, you're taking way too long to set up. Like your setup time is 10 minutes. You gotta shave it down, cut it down 6 minutes tops. And it's like, if you don't do that by the next show, then I'm not gonna get you any more shows because you're embarrassing me and you're bringing the brand down. So that's a little tough love right there, and I appreciate her so much for it. If not, I would be such an ill-disciplined piece of, yeah. So
Sometimes
so
you need a little
yeah,
behind.
Nico. Oh, sorry, you were saying?
Sorry, I just said that sometimes I guess you do need a little kick in the behind. Anyway, you were saying?
Oh, yes. I was going on about my team. And we have Nico, our photographer. Um, he knows my angles, so I love working with him. Amazing stuff. A real hard worker. Yeah. And we have Locust, our videographer. That's where we get a lot of the content to even like edit and put it up, because hey, everyone likes content these days, right? You can't avoid it. You can't shy away from it. You can't say, hey, I just want to sit at home and make my music. That's not to be ageist, but that's old. That's an old way of thinking. That's a see. I'm not like super young either. I'm 36, and to even think about like having to grasp with the concept of content, like that's that just blew my mind. But I was like, you know what? I'm gonna shape up, and I'm gonna get this bitch down, you know. So yeah, so that's why every single member of the team, it's they've put in so much hard work behind the scenes that what you see is the final product. You see like, oh, it's a massive like chaos, and it's a lot of like raw energy, but a lot of that it's really it's curated. It's been vetted through and given a lot of thought before we go on stage and just like say things, or like just go on stage and like cuss someone or some entity out. We don't do stuff like that. So a lot of it's all like premeditated. It's thought out, and it's curated chaos. That's how we put it.
I see. Well, it's like you said, you definitely need a good team of people behind you, and it sounds like you have a great team. You're in good hands, and you definitely have people who are going to be taking care of you
Yeah.
and help you create your art and promote it. And I mean, that's great. Yeah, it's also all about having the right connections. It's also you got lucky to have uh, to be able to work with such great people.
Also, shout out to Rob, my boy, my security, because you don't get into this business without making a few enemies, and my boy Rob keeps me safe. So
I see.
shout out, bro.
Your bodyguard.
Yeah.
Wow. Well, I mean, as far as I'm concerned, if you need a bodyguard, that's how you can tell that you've made it.
Thank you. I will claim that, but I
No
thank you
problem.
so much.
No problem. Okay, so Dracula is described as electronica slash industrial slash rock slash metal slash hip hop. I've been tripped up.
Yeah,
Sorry.
I think accurately it would be industrial metal, hard rock, and electronica. That's what I would label it as. I'm not sure what everyone else would think it is, but for me, it's industrial metal, hard rock, and electronica. That's the perfect blend for me, with influences of like trip hop, because I'm into stuff like Portishead, Massive Attack, British bands, and they have that sound that I lust after. So it's like a little sprinkle of everything in there.
I see. Well, so right now I am going through a phase where I stopped listening to music for a while. I
Really,
actually that's been going on for about I want to say like 6 months now. Um,
really, 6 months with no music. That's
well,
wild.
not with no music because I mean I do still go to live music shows. It's just
Got you.
up until about 6 months ago, I would listen to music like literally not all the time, but because I don't like listening to music when I'm at
Hmm.
home. But I always listen to it when I'm on my way somewhere, when I'm in an Uber, when I'm on a bus, and when I work out, and also when I walk somewhere.
Right.
Yes. So, and basically, like 6 months ago, I kind of started feeling like, so at first I was like, I need to find some new stuff to listen to.
Right.
I need to discover some new bands. And then I tried listening to some rock bands. I tried listening to some heavy metal bands.
Hmm.
All throughout 2024, I have been listening to modern pop music, like
Okay.
Sabrina Carpenter. Let's see, Tate McRae, because in addition to rock and roll, I also love pop music. And I've been listening to like Billboard 100 stuff throughout the year of 2024.
I
And
love
like
that.
you said, in the beginning of 2025, I kind of started feeling like I think I might need a break from music so that I can actually fully start appreciating it again.
That makes sense.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Kind of like a tolerance break almost.
exactly. So once that break is going to be over, I am definitely going to check out some more heavy metal stuff, because when it comes to heavy metal, I must say that my favorite bands are stuff like Motley Crue, Poison, and Def Leppard. I
Mhm.
definitely love those, like, 80s hair metal stuff.
Motley Crue, we had this conversation. We already had this conversation about Motley Crue. Yeah, I was a big fan of Motley Crue. I would love to meet Tommy Lee and Nikki Sixx. They are like my favorite people in the world. I would just die if I got a chance to meet them.
I see. Have you ever seen them play live?
I have. They played a show in Singapore, and that was like a good like 15 years back. And I remember I didn't have the money to go into the concert, but I sneaked in right at the top of the hill where I could see him,
Hmm.
and I had a good time. And then I got so inspired after that. Andre was there, and I was like, hey, let's go book a studio and jam, and we made the worst music. It was nothing at all professional. It was just trash, but we had a great time. We had a great time because we watched Motley Crue.
Well, you were like what, 2021?
At that point, yeah, yeah, I think like 2021.
Yeah. So, well, you guys were pretty young.
Yeah.
So yeah, hmm, Nikki Sixx. I remember I read The Dirt 6 years ago, and it has been a while. I have to reread it.
Mhm.
But I definitely remember reading that when he was like 16, 17 years old, first of all, he was really poor and he was homeless. And like he was constantly also like wandering around LA trying to find places to live. And
Yeah.
at the same time, he was thinking how
Yeah.
like, well, I love rock music. I'm dreaming about being in a rock band. Yet here I am, and I can't even play guitar, and I don't even have a guitar. And then I don't know if you're familiar with the story about how he stole.
Yes, he went in with an empty case and he went out with a guitar. I'm like, yes, that's a story right there.
Yeah, and when he was trying out for a first band, I believe that it was, oh my goodness, what was his first band called? Shit, I can't remember. It was named after like a planet or something. Like, I cannot believe I'm totally blanking out on this.
That's okay. We all gotta read the dirt again, you know.
Yeah, yeah. So anyway, that story about how he got his bass, he went into a music store with an empty guitar case. He asked for a job application, and
Mhm.
the cashier had to go all the way to the back to get one. And then when he was gone, Nikki just like grabbed the first guitar he saw, stuck it in the case, and got the hell out of there. And then when he came in for an audition, because he was trying to audition for the band, and the first time they asked him, well, do you have a guitar? And he was like, no, but I am gonna get one. And when he came back with a guitar, he was like, well, I mean, the guys in the band were like, dude, that's a bass guitar. And he was like, so I'll play
Mhm.
regular guitar and bass.
Yeah.
Obviously, he had absolutely no idea what he was talking about, but yeah, apparently then, yeah, he stuck with it.
See, that's the drive I was talking about. That motivation, that drive that you just can't teach someone. You know, like Nicky went in. He said he was gonna be a rock star. He back borrow or steal a guitar, and he turned up for jamming, and he was like, let's fucking do this. And that kind of story just sticks with you. You know, like as a kid, like when you read stuff like that, and it's like if he could do something like that, I like maybe I have a chance to make my own story like that. And that's why they're legends, you know.
It's definitely very motivational. Although honestly, I'm having a hard time believing if something like this would fly in 2025.
I think today what we would call that a boss move. You know, that's what we would say it was.
Well, you know, these days they have like security cameras. First of all, no one uses like actual paper applications anymore. I mean, that's
Mm,
another thing that I was thinking. I mean, dude, it's the 80s. No
mm,
one, I'm pretty sure that back then, no one had even had a computer in their home.
yeah,
It wasn't the thing back then. So obviously, everything had to be, on paper. So
yeah.
it's like these days, you go into a store and you're like, well, I'd like to apply. They would just be like, dude, go online.
Go
And then
online, yeah,
sure that they have security guards. They have like
yeah,
10 other, like 20 other, like fucking people working in the store.
yeah,
They have, security tags and stuff like that. Yeah, so
yeah.
something like this would have a hard, they would have a hard time.
Yeah, we're in the age of surveillance,
Mhm.
and on a tangent to that, I was telling a friend a couple of days ago. I mean, everyone's got like Ring doorbells now and stuff like that, right? So
Mhm.
it's like where are all the serial killers? You know, like we haven't had like had a breakout of like serial killers for a while now because everyone's got like Ring doorbells. You know, yeah, I was joking to my friend. I said Michael Myers wouldn't stand a chance today because everyone would be like, hey, that's him right there. Like you can see him on the Ring app. You know, like and that just takes the entire premise of the franchise for me.
Well, thank goodness, and let's knock on wood for that because yeah, I'm also kind of into the serial killer vibe. So I don't know if you know this, but there is this museum in Hollywood called the Museum of Death.
I've never been, but it's on my bucket list. Yeah,
You should go. I went there. The first time that I went there was in 2019.
2019.
Then they closed their original location on Hollywood Boulevard. And only a couple of years ago, I found their new location
Mm,
on, I can't remember what street it's on, but it's really close to the Hotel Cafe. It's like practically around the corner from it.
got you.
Yeah, there is also this bar called St. Felix's that's like across the street from the Hotel Cafe. And
Mm,
the new Museum of Death is located right around the corner from St. Felix's. So yeah, you should definitely go. It's
I
so
will.
pretty. Yeah, like the second time I just recently went there. Well, not recently, like 6 months ago. I went there.
Recentish, yeah. No,
Yeah, I went there with a friend, and I was so surprised at how I could handle it 6 years ago, the first time that I went there, because apparently maybe I wasn't so sensitive to to stuff like that back then.
mm,
Maybe
mm,
I wasn't really like I didn't really understand like the major impact of it.
got you.
But the second time I went there, I was like, oh my gosh, it is definitely gruesome. Like it's graphic. They have like really graphic images of,
Mm,
serial killer victims. They have
right,
pictures of well, like what happened to Sharon Tate after
right.
what the Manson clan did to her.
Yeah,
So and yeah, and they had all the information on like serial killers,
yeah.
um, including mm, Richard Ramirez, the Night
The
Stalker.
Night Stalker. Yep.
Yeah, so you should definitely go. It's
I
gruesome.
will. I am. I have. You know, when I was a kid, I grew up. I was like, oh, serial killers are so like cool, and like they have that whole mystique about them. But as I slowly kind of grew up through the years, I kind of, I'm a little hesitant of like putting on them on that pedestal. Just because of like when you think of it from like the victim's family's point of view, it's kind of it's a little strange to glorify them in that way like that. So for me, that's why there's always been like a healthy distancing for me with like um me and like thinking about serial killers and worshiping them. But they do come up on my mind like once in a while, and that's why I guess that's why my friend and I even had that conversation about the Ring doorbells.
Well, yeah, I remember the first time that I went to the Museum of Death. I told my mom like about that whole experience, and she was like, "Why do you want to go there? There are so many other like art museums. Like
Yeah,
this is where you want to go.
yeah,
Why?"
yeah.
And I was like, "Actually, back in 2019, the Museum of Death was kind of sort of like a comfort place for me. As weird as that sounds, it's just that the first time that I visited it, it was like a really happy time in my life.
Mm,
And
mm.
sometimes I think like going back there might, I don't know, bring some of that magic back. But like I said, when I visited it 6 months ago, I was like, Okay, apparently the first time that I visited this place, I did not fully grasp
Mm,
what they're trying to show.
mm.
Because yeah, it is brutal. It's fascinating but brutal. Definitely good.
I guess it's a kind of like a morbid curiosity kind of thing,
Hmm.
right? You just want to, you just want to. It's almost like the more you know, maybe you could like, I don't know, protect yourself from such evil that's out there. Maybe put yourself in the shoes of like the victims and well, of course the killers themselves, but and to and really to ask yourself, well, for me, would I survive something like that? Would I, if I was put in an exact situation, because we all think that we're special and unique in some way, that we're gonna be the star of our own movies, but when I actually put you in a situation like that, would you be able to stay alive? And for me, that's the draw of things like that. That's the morbid curiosity of things.
Yeah, it's definitely that. Honestly, for me, it's more about learning about these facts, I guess.
Yeah.
Um, hmm. I guess when I first visited that place, I wanted to kind of like visit some new places in LA,
Mm,
check some things out. And it's like I said, like when the first time that I visited that place, it was a really happy time in my life. Like things were
mm,
going good for me, and now I always have that place associated with that time, despite the fact that it has such gruesome content, And also, it's like you said, like when I visited it, I wasn't that young.
yeah.
It was 27, so that's definitely old enough to understand the
Right.
impact. It's like I wasn't like 18 or anything. Like you fully understand the impact of like what
Yeah.
you're showing.
You had a good time. You had a good time.
I did have a good time.
Yeah, that's what it was. You had a good time.
Yeah, but now that I visited, I'm definitely like, yeah. Back then, I did not fully grasp
Mm,
just what they're trying to tell, and that's
correct.
how gruesome it is.
Yeah.
Okay. Anyway, on to the next question. So, what attracts you the most to the type of music that you're making?
What? Sorry. What's me the
What
most?
attracts you the most? Like, what do you like? What made you create a sound in such a style? Like, what attracts you the most to it?
I've always had a fascination with noise, because I grew up as a classically trained pianist, and when you do classical, it's a lot about about structure and what's right and what's wrong and what's in key and what's not, what's the right scale, the mode, and all that stuff, right? So when I got into rock, and specifically industrial rock, and I'm talking about stuff like Ministry, KMFDM, the stuff that's noisy as heck, and um um bands like Throbbing Gristle, Skinny Puppy. I kind of got hooked on noise, and just how freeing it could be without a predefined structure, right? And that was what got me really like all in with industrial, because I like the sound textures, the harshness of it, the sometimes intentionally lo-fi bad mixing, and that's what attracts me. Strange little sounds, noises that sound like I've heard them somewhere, almost like a audio liminal space kind of thing, and that really just like grabs me, hypnotizes me, and I've got to put it down on paper. I've got to hear it again, and almost like an earworm kind of thing. As I'm writing, I'm listening and I'm putting it on. And I'm like, yeah, that's a great groove. That's something that makes me want to roll my eyes back and go like that. And that's when I know I found something.
Well, yeah, that's exactly what like heavy metal and I guess like industrial rock, trip hop is all about. It's
Correct.
all about those crazy sounds. Yes, like when I listen to that type of music, Like sometimes I think that like some of it, actually a lot of it, might be a little bit too heavy for me.
Right.
But Motley Crue is would have to be my favorite metal band. But that's because I feel like a lot of their stuff is really melodic and not just Home Sweet Home. Yeah, they definitely have stuff like, Kickstart My Heart. Um,
Yes.
I cannot think of any other titles right now because I haven't listened to Motley Crue in forever.
I feel like Motley Crue laid a lot of the foundation for modern alternative heavy metal industrial style music, because if you listen to to Doctor Feelgood, like it was way ahead of its time. It had the tones dun, 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 da, dun, 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 da, dun, 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 da, dun, and it was just so menacing, and it almost broke out of the mold for what I consider to be like hair metal stuff. Like it was so dark and brooding, and it had that like that dark little edge. And when later on in the later years of the Crew, they had songs like Sick Love Song, If I Die Tomorrow, stuff like that was like really heavy, which I feel like laid a lot of the foundation for modern heavy music, because they were willing to go to drop D, which was in my opinion, which was something new at that time.
Yeah, like I said, I definitely need to listen to metal again because it's been forever, even since I listened to Motley Crue. But like I said, I'm not really in the mood for music that heavy right now, unless it's live. Yeah, because it's definitely different when you listen to music in the space of a club,
Mm,
opposed to like listening to it in broad daylight, or even
mm.
when you're just like hanging out in the street. Like that's different. Uh, yeah, but anyway, what was I gonna say? Oh yeah, so my mother, she plays piano, or actually she
Oh,
has
interesting.
been years, but she grew up playing piano, and so I know basically for a fact that classical music is really structured, it's really rigid, it's all about the proper playing the proper notes,
Yes.
the proper rhythm. uh, and yeah, I can definitely understand how you feel like with metal you can experiment more, you can definitely make it more wilder, more creative
Yes.
and crazier. I mean, it's a crazy
Exactly.
music.
Exactly.
um So, okay, next question. Where in Los Angeles have you performed so far?
I feel like I feel like we've been everywhere. I want to say um we've definitely done I'm not gonna list off like a whole bunch of places, but like I like most of West Hollywood. We've definitely played before, with the exception of Roxy and Troubadour.
Mhm.
Um, yeah, we've played in Long Beach, we've played in Orange County. Um, yeah, just pretty much everywhere in LA that we can play. We've played small stuff, to crowds of like just one person, and still gave it 100%. And we've been to places like the Whisky, which honestly, it's still surreal for me that I even get to be on the Whisky stage, because that's the place I read about in the books, and it's like, yay! Now I get to be a part of it.
I mean, to
Yeah.
play the Whiskey, it's definitely a huge honor. I mean, that's where the Red Hot Chili Peppers got their start, the Doors, so many other famous
Yes.
acts.
Yes. Whenever I step in the Whiskey, it's like, oh, we're on hallowed ground right here. This is where history is made.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's such a famous, well-known place. I mean, it's been around since the 60s, and every single time I visit it, I always feel like it's so amazing that I'm actually able to set foot into a club that's been around since the 60s. So, do you by any chance know who Pamela DeBarz is?
Say that again.
Do you know who Pamela DeBarz is?
No.
So she was one of the first groupies. In fact, she was the one who originated the whole concept of groupies, and she was famous for the fact that in the 60s she hooked up with Jim Morrison once
Mm,
before he went on stage at the Whiskey A Go Go. She was
okay.
married to Michael DeBar's. She was also married to this actor who is actually the father of Dakota Johnson. I forget his first name, but anyway, she was
Got you.
very, very well known in the rock music scene in the 60s.
Got you.
She originated the whole groupie scene, and she hung out at the Whiskey in the 60s on a regular basis. So,
So she was like the original scene girl kind of thing.
yeah, she was.
Yeah.
Yeah, so yeah, there's a lot of history in that place. It's a very special club.
I love that.
Um, so, did you tour in any other cities or states yet?
No, we are for well, yes, we have played a couple of shows in San Diego. We're looking to expand to San Francisco or perhaps Arizona. And well, one of my dreams is to go to New York and play shows in New York because I've heard so much about it. The Big Apple. I really want to go out there and get Dracula out to more states, more cities. Um, but at the moment, we are being more practical while we're building. We're still at a phase where we're trying to build a homegrown fan base, and that's where our attention is at right now.
Hmm, I see. Well, you guys will definitely get there. And
Thank you.
yeah, did you when did the band originate? Like, what year did the project come together?
I want to say after COVID, and that was in 2022. So we've been around for like 3 years in March. So that's like yeah, 2022. That would be the first incarnation of Dracula where I was not doing vocals. And we were all in drag. So that was a different version. But we've been around for like 3 years already since 2022.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
like I said, I'm pretty sure that you guys will get everywhere you want to go.
Oh, thank you. We will. We'll do our best.
Yeah. And I'm definitely looking forward to seeing more of your shows in LA. I'll try to make it to as many of them as I can.
Oh, thank you. Just hit me up. I'll always have a ticket for you. Hey, if we're playing the whiskey, I'm sure you can get in for free.
Oh my gosh, I will definitely take you up on that. Yeah, it would be nice not to have.
Absolutely. Anytime, I got you.
Thank you. And my last question for you, what's
Sure.
next in your agenda, like musically?
So, well, you heard it here first. We're going to do a cover of Lunchbox by Marilyn Manson.
Mhm.
I am in my home studio right now producing the the tracks. So I'm done with the drums, bass, and we're tracking the guitars right now. And I'll also be mixing and mastering the track. So it should take me like maybe I want to project like a month and a half out. Um, but this is the first time I've actually mentioned it. I have not. I have kept this a little under wraps, and it's a perfect thing. It's a perfect time that you asked. So that's what we're going to be doing. Um, I am looking to be a little bit more productive in 2025, but I had to deal with some immigration issues in the earlier half of the year, so that made me a little distracted, I must say. So I kind of lost my focus for a little bit, but now we're back on track. And as you can see from the performance of the Whiskey at Go Go, we are ready to tear it down.
Yeah, you guys definitely look ready to tear it down. So you said right now you're working on it. Was it a new album or a new track that
It's a single. It's a track. It's a cover of the track Lunchbox. So um yeah, in recent years we found it way more um efficient to do singles instead of whole albums. So that's why we're gonna go with singles for now.
I see? Okay.
Yeah.
Why do you think doing singles is more efficient than doing a whole album?
Because there's a I want to say problem, but it's not a problem. There is an issue with attention span of people these days, right? So it used to be like back in the day you would go into like a record store or like and get like a cassette or like a CD and an album would be like a whole entire experience, with the album art, like liner notes and all that stuff, and I feel like people just don't have that time or attention anymore. Not in the 2025. So being making an album takes a specific amount of time, right? And that's when people kind of they start to get bored, they lose interest because there's so many things out there that's just grabbing for your attention 24/7, right? So I feel like releasing singles is a good way to stay relevant, stay informed, and also not not to have too long of a production time between the tracks.
I see. Well, yeah, that definitely makes sense. Because a lot of times when I listen to like whole albums by artists, I always
Right.
find myself only really loving, like specifically loving maybe like one or two songs on the album
Correct.
that really
Correct.
speaks to me, and then but then it's like, well, I got this whole uh I've got so many more tracks to listen to on the album, like I need to check
Right.
them out. And no offense to artists or anything, definitely no offense to you, no offense to anyone who's making music, but
Right.
sometimes it ends up being kind of like a waste of time because all of the
Yeah.
songs, they don't really make you feel anything. It kind of sort of
Correct.
feel they're just like there to like fill in the blank.
Correct.
Yes, you have like one or two or three songs that like are really really good, that really make you
Mm,
stand out.
correct.
Well, aside from
And
the
oh yeah.
Red Hot Chili Peppers, because they have been my number one favorite band since I was about 18. Lately,
Who is? Say that again.
Red Hot Chili Peppers.
Red Hot. Yeah, yeah. Those guys are dope. Oh my god. Yeah. So good. So good.
Yeah, they're amazing. And
And the other thing about like making albums is like albums kind of have like a theme to them, right? So it could be a little like restricting in a sense, but if you singles are like you kind of get to go around the whole spectrum of emotions and be like, okay, so this one's gonna be something that's really like brooding and soft and dark and melancholic, and the other one's gonna and the next one's gonna be like, oh, balls to the wall, like bang, and like just like a hard ass track, you know. So I feel like there's a lot more flexibility in doing singles in 2025 as compared to huddling up and like making an album. Not to say that there's no inherent value in that. It's just not for me at this point of my career.
yeah, I mean, yeah, I can definitely understand that what you're saying definitely makes sense because it's much
Yeah,
better to put all of your energy into one single that sounds really good or a couple of
exactly.
that sound really good as opposed to
Yes.
making a whole entire album of songs that are just like mediocre.
Yeah. Yeah. We aim for all killer, no filler, right? That's a term,
Absolutely.
right?
Well, Warren, thank you so much again for being on
thank,
the show.
thank you, Maria.
Yeah,
This was so fun. I managed to get some stuff out in there that I've been waiting to talk about, and thank you for the platform and the opportunity. I hope to see you soon at the Whisky or outside of the Whisky. Yay!
or at any other club. Yeah, like I said, I'm gonna hit you up about that free ticket thing.
Anytime.
Okay,
I got you.
thank you so much. And everyone, please like, comment, subscribe, support me on Patreon, and I'll see you guys next time.
Yay!
Thank you.
Later, y'all. Thanks, Maria.
Thanks, Warren. Bye.
Bye.